मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। वेदान्तार्थविभासकाय गुरवे शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादी नगेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। ब्रह्माहं यत्प्रसादेन मयि विश्वं प्रकल्पितम् श्रीमत्स्वयं प्रकाशाख्यं प्रणौमि जगतां गुरुं। यः परमात्मा जगत्सृष्ट्वा प्रविवेश पुनः स्वयं तं कृष्णं प्रत्यगात्मानं वन्दे गोपी मनोहरम्। यस्य प्रसादादहमद्वयात्मा विश्वं समस्तं मयि कल्पितं च तं सर्वलोकैकगुरुं सदाश्री स्वयं प्रकाशं गुरुमानतोऽस्मि। गुरूणां चरणां भोजं प्रणिपत्य निरन्तरं तत्कृपालेशतो द्वैत चिन्ताकौस्तुभमारभे। Now we have understood that when it is said Hiranyagarbha is born or the Vaishvanara is born, etc., there is a possibility by looking at statements like these, one may mistakenly conclude Vaishvanara and Hiranyagarbha to be jivas. But we have to understand that there is no real birth for Hiranyagarbha or Vaishvanara, even for that matter for Jiva, though we say it is. And therefore, why are we saying this? Is because when the upadhi, when the conditioning is born, it appears that the consciousness is also born with the conditioning, with the birth of the body. And this is not true. Birth and death are just two modifications of the upadhi. So birth and death are the modifications that belong to the body. Now, since they belong to the body, they do not belong to the consciousness. Hence, birth and death cannot be determined as the factors, or birth and death cannot be assigned as the factors to determine this is the characteristic of a jiva. What does it take? Then what does it take to define the status of jivahood? There is no doubt that jiva has a body. So also Hiranyagarbha also has a body, which is the totality of the subtle body, the total subtle body. Vaishvanara has a body, of course, and this body is the gross body, and therefore it is the total gross body. And birth and death could be there even to these bodies. Yet, that does not make Hiranyagarbha and Vaishvanara jivas. Why so? Because jivahood really means identifying oneself as limited, as small. You see, identifying oneself as limited, paricchinnam, and therefore parichinna abhimana. Abhimana, in the sense, the identification with of yourself as being limited, as small. And what is this on account of? Because one does not know that the nature of I is infinite. Because of not knowing that Atma is Brahman, one considers himself to be a limited entity. One discovers himself to be this limited existence. This identification of oneself as parichinna. Parichinna means limited. Now, limited in time, limited in space, limited with powers, limited with all these things. Any nikash, any criterion that you apply to discover yourself as a limited entity is only because of the prevalence of ignorance. And therefore, how is this Swarupa discovered by you? Swarupa means your own being. How is it discovered by you? I discover myself as a limited being. That means that the true nature of your being remains covered by the ignorance. Like the true nature of that object, when remains covered, you do not know what it is. It is a rope, but you do not know that it is a rope. And hence, not knowing it is a rope, now there is the understanding about that object as a snake, which is not true. So what is it that has allowed this projection to take place, this misunderstanding to take place? Avrita Swarupam, the Swarupa, the nature, the true nature of the object being concealed, being covered, being concealed. And therefore, Avrita Swarupena, there will be Parichinna Abhimana. What will be there? Because of the true nature remaining concealed. And we know Ignorance has the power to conceal. It conceals. Just as darkness conceals the object, here ignorance also has similar kind of a power to conceal. So Avrita Swarupam, because of the nature remaining concealed, now instead of what you truly are, what you are not becomes available. Because of the robe remaining, the true nature of the robe remaining concealed, it is experienced as what it is not. The rope is definitely not a snake or a garland or a crack in the ground or a stream of water. Nothing of these things is the rope. But a person under the ignorance now sees the rope or experiences the rope as a snake or a garland, so on and so forth. This is what makes the jivahood avrita swarupena parichinna abhiman. What is the prayojaka hetu over there? Avrita swarupena parichinna abhiman. Just seeing the appearance of birth and death is not what is the determining factor to say their jiva. In case of Vaishwanara and Hiranyagarbha, whichever may be the state, the knowledge that I am Brahman always remains unconcealed. And therefore, even if the state is the state of Hiranyagarbha or the state of Vaishwanara, the cognition that I am Brahman never gets clouded, never remains concealed. And hence, there is no parichinna vimana. Or for time being, even if it says, I am this whole, I am the Vaishwanara, it is yet not being called as Jiva. Okay, because parichinna vimana is not there. Now, having discussed this, why are we going into such length and such detail to say that this is what is Ishvara? That even Vaishwanara and Hiranyagarbha is truly Ishvara. Because these are the states. Just as you have the state of waking, swapna, the dream, and the deep sleep, the jiva remains jiva in all the three states. Like that, Ishvara does not stray away from being Ishvara, no matter whichever is the state. Okay? But these are all finer points whose implication and importance as a student and as a seeker you will understand when you roll, when the time rolls and you are able to see the intricacies of the sadhana. Therefore, at this point, understand it is eka eva paramatma hiranyagarbha iti uchyate. Okay. Now, further, on page number 102, and that's why I'm giving it sufficient time, patiently walking you through these lines, is only because the understanding should become clearer. Otherwise, sweeping over these vakyas also is possible. Not only just sweeping, we can even skip portions and move ahead. But the very reason that we are paying so much attention and so much energy to it is because there are certain things which are important, and if not paid attention to, will then become difficult later on, will create some sort of a misunderstanding. Okay, therefore, now on page number 102, first paragraph, the second last line. Tasmat. Now by saying tasmat, conclusion of this particular topic is being brought. Tasmat sutratma vaishwanarayoho sutrakarena ishwaratva pratipadanat tat pratipadaka shruti smriti sambhavachya औपादिक जन्मादि प्रतिपादनस्य वैराग्यार्थत्वाच्च निरतिशय ज्ञानैश्वर्यादि योगाच्च अनावृतस्वरूपेण परिच्छिन्न परिच्छेदाभिमानाभावाच्च तयोर ईश्वरत्वम्. Okay, now he concludes the whole topic with all the reasoning that we have already undergone in the earlier analysis is being brought to you in just one single sentence. Now look at that, because this is quite, it encapsulates the entire discussion about Hiranyagarbha and Vaishwanara being Ishvara only. Ishvara alone is what becomes Vaishwanara and Hiranyagarbha. So Hiranyagarbha and Vaishwanara are not separate from Ishvara. That is the reason why we are not going to say something like, Shiva is different from Brahma and Brahma is different from Vishnu or something. It is one. Parameshwara alone, that Shiva alone now becomes Vishnu, becomes Brahma. Okay? He will be called as Brahma. Got it? Therefore, Tasmat Sutratma Vaishwanarayoho Sutrakarena. Now it is through Brahma Sutra we are able to understand that the Brahma Sutras unambiguously say that it is Ishvara alone as Vaishwanara and also as the Sutratma, Hiranyagarbha. Sutrakarena Ishvaratva Pratipadanat. Then that, and why has Sutrakara said this? Bhagavan Vyasa has said that because Tat Pratipadaka Shruti Smriti Sambhavacha. Because we have found that there are ample number of Shruti and Smritis which now say that show that Hiranyagarbha and Vaishwanara is nothing but Ishvara alone. Ishvara alone. Okay? And then Sambhavacha Aupadika Janmadi Pratipadanasya. Now, even when it is spoken that Hiranyagarbha is born or Vaishwanara is born, it is not meant to say it is not Ishvara. Then what is the reason why it is said Vairagyarthatvacha, in order to generate Vairagyam in the listener's mind. Vairagyarthatvacha Niratishaya Jnana Ishwaryadi Yogacha Now, because they have unlimited, unsurpassed, complete knowledge, splendor, power, etc. Niratishaya jnana aishwaryadi yogacha. So also at the same time, anavrita swarupena. Now, because even in the state of Hiranyagarbha and Vaishvanara, the knowledge that I am Brahman remains unconcealed. Anavrita swarupacha paricheda vimana bhavacha, and because therefore they do not have the identification of any limited existence. Paricheda vimana bhava, there is abhava, absence. Absence of what? Parichinna abhimana or paricheda abhimana. The same thing. There is absence of identification with limited existence. Paricheda vimana bhavacha tayoho ishvaratvam. In both, it is nothing but Ishvara alone as both these expressions. Okay? Tayoho ishvaratvam. Now, the whole topic from almost 2 pages is brought to a conclusion in one single line. Every teacher has this job to do, that the teacher should tell what he is going to tell. That in next 1 hour or during this lecture, this is what is going to be told to you. So he should tell what he wants to tell. Then he should tell what he told he will tell. Okay? So you begin the class. Well, I'm going to teach you how to make jalebi. Okay? Then when he starts telling, he lands up. This is, for jalebi, we require sugar syrup to be made. And then he goes to say that sugar syrup is made like laddus. You know how to make laddus? Fine. And instead of talking about jalebi, he ends up teaching how to make laddus. Now, this is not what it is. We want, you said you would teach jalebi, and then you should tell us how to make jalebi. Like that, tell what you told you will tell. And then finally, tell them what you have told. So this is how the clarity of the subject matter is delivered to the student. So following the same thing, the last line, you can underline it. And in this is encapsulated topic over here. So that is done. Furthermore, evam cha tadupasakanam tat prasadena krama muktihi utpadyate. Now, it is by propitiation of Ishvara, one becomes capable of liberation. Liberation is the result, consequence of the Ishvara's grace. Now we have found that those who do the upasana of Ishvara as Hiranyagarbha or as Vaishvanara also get liberated. But that liberation is in the stages. So there is a sequence, and therefore it is in sequence, and therefore we can say it is krama mukti. The krama means sequence, and mukti means liberation. So krama mukti is the phalam. So it means now he who does the upasana of Hiranyagarbha attains the oneness with Hiranyagarbha, and at the end of the time cycle, when even the body of Hiranyagarbha is dissolved, Now he also attains liberation over there at the end of that time cycle. Now there is a stage in between before he attains liberation. Now he who has attained the oneness with Hiranyagarbha, he is not going to fall back into the trap of this mortal world. He will be there as Hiranyagarbha, experiencing the status of being the total experiencer. Okay, now and over there is Krama Mukti, the final liberation, which will be which will happen at the end of the time cycle. So there is Krama Mukti. Moksha, Mukti is the phalam, and Mukti is a phalam, is the result of the Ishvara's upasana, of propitiating Ishvara, which he also has got, but as Krama Mukti. And therefore, evam cha tad upasakanam tat prasadena krama mukti utpadyate. Tasmad, therefore, ekasyeva parama. We are seeing the result of that upasana, and by looking at the result of the upasana, also we know that it is Ishvara. Now, for example, let us say there are few bottles kept on a table. One is a red bottle, one is a blue bottle, one is a green bottle. So the fellow who goes and drinks from the red bottle, his thirst is quenched. The one who goes and drinks from the blue bottle, even his thirst is quenched. And one who drinks from the green bottle, even his thirst is quenched. Now, quenching of the thirst is a result of drinking water. So from the red bottle, when a person drinks, his thirst is quenched, and therefore you are going to say, in the red bottle there is water. What about the other two bottles? Looking at the result, now you know that even in the red and blue bottle there is nothing but water alone, because the result is quenching of thirst. So also he who does the upasana of Vaishwanara also attains moksha. The one who does the upasana of Hiranyagarbha also attains moksha sequentially, and therefore now moksha being the result of their upasana, of propitiating or meditating upon Hiranyagarbha and Vaishwanara, we are able to say Vaishwanara and Hiranyagarbha is also nothing but Ishvara alone, expressing as this totality of subtle world and the totality of the gross world. It is Ishvara alone. And therefore, Eka Eva Paramatma. This small flies or mosquitoes or moths, I don't know. They get attracted to these lights. Ekaiva Paramatma. Evam cha tadupasakanam taprasadena kramamuktihi utpadyate. Tasma ekasyeva paramatmano. Paramatmano means paramatmanaha. Vaishwanara sutreshwaraha avastha visheshaha iti abhipretya imam artham spashtayati. Therefore, it is one Paramatma alone, and therefore of this God, Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Vaishwanara, these are the names given to this one God alone, depending upon the state of expression. What is being expressed when the expression is not of anything, just the causal form. It is what? In the causal form. So that causal form, which is unmanifest, when this is the conditioning, this God is called as Ishvara. When the conditioning further from the unmanifest, the manifest comes forth, but this manifestation is of the total subtlety. It is the Paramatma is called as, God is called as Hiranyagarbha. And when the expression is that of the from that unmanifest, now the subtle manifest has come. For further than that, now the gross manifestation takes place, which which becomes a conditioning, making this Paramatma being called as Vaishvana. And therefore it is Ekameva, Eka Eva Paramatma iti Avastha Visheshaha. These are nothing but states, states of manifestation, states of manifestation. In case of Jiva, we said these are the states of experience. Now we are going to say over here, the conditioning is the state of manifestation. Unmanifest, which is total unmanifest. And there is no way that you can know the unmanifest. In the sense that what is there in the unmanifest? Unmanifest is just unmanifest. Avyaktam. If it becomes vyaktam, you can know with certain details. However, you can't. Just as in the sleep, everything is unmanifest. Deep sleep. Exactly like that, when the totality, which is the cause of everything, is unmanifest, over there, this state makes the consciousness Paramatma, gives the status of being Ishvara, then Hiranyagarbha, and then of Vaishvana. Therefore, these are the states of manifestation or expression. Iti abhipretya imam artham spashtayati. Tasya havaye tasyatmano vaishvanarasya murtaeva suteja इत्यादि श्रुतियुक्त सकल गुण विशिष्ट वैश्वानरोहम इत्यर्थः. एतदिति वैश्वानरोपासन उपासनया इत्यर्थः. Now, अहमेव वैश्वानरोऽस्मि इति एतद् उपासनया तत् प्राप्तिः फलसम्भवति. Now, the Upanishad now tells what is the kind of meditation, what is the kind of upasana, what is the kind of propitiation over here. Just by saying prayer, prayer is not all the time supplication. God, give me a wife, give me a child, give me money, give me a bigger house, bigger car. This is now the prayer has got a different meaning. When you are going to say God, what does it mean? What does it mean? As long as you are asking for something else, your interest is not God. Your interest is something else. Now over here, now he says, Tasya havai tasyatmano vaishvanarasya murthaeva sutteja. And then when a person meditates upon Vaishvanara with that tadatmyam, of the Taijas having tadatmya with Vaishvanara, how does he meditate? That I am this Vaishva, what do they call? Hiranyagarbha. What is this Hiranyagarbha? One whose head is the Dulok, Suteja, the what do they call? Is the celestial world. Okay? मूर्धाएव सुतेजा इत्यादि श्रुतियुक्त सकल गुण विशिष्ट वैश्वानरो हम. I am this Vaishvanara, this whose head is the highest world over there, beyond which there is nothing. So that is what he says. Vaishvanaro ham ityartha. Etaditi Vaishvanarupasanaya ityartha. And therefore one will discover himself to be one with Vaishvanara. That will be his experience, that I am one with Vaishvanara. I am this Vaishvanara. And this is because of the Upasana. And so, Yathokta Prakarena Vaishvanaram Paramatmanam Shyatva Tad Upasanena Sadhakaha Tad Bhavam Prapnoti Iti Atra Sammatim Aha. And thus, when a person, this seeker, meditates upon Vaishvanara in this way, he attains oneness with Vaishvanara. Attains oneness with Vaishvanara. And that is being shown to you in that line. Ahameva Vaishvanarosmi iti etad upasanaya tat praptihi Vaishvanara praptihi phalam bhavati. Okay. Sharirake samanvaya lakshane sthitam. I'll just make that change over there. Sthitham is sthitam tam. Sharirake samanvaya lakshane sthitam Vaishvanara sadharana shabda visheshat. Now, yet one more topic about Vaishvanara is brought to you from the Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra is also called as the Shariraka Sutra. So, over there, in the Samanvaya Lakshane, in the first chapter of Brahma Sutra, one sutra occurs which says Vaishvanara Sadharana Shabda Visheshat. Now we are going to look at the subject matter brought to you by this particular sutra. What is it? Konaha Atma Kim Brahma Iti Atmanameva Vaishvanaram Sampratyadheshi Tameva no Bruhiti Upakramya Sutejastvadi Gunayogam Dyu Surya Prapratinam Ekaiko Upasana Nindaya Murdhadi Bhavam Upadishya Amnayate. Now, for your sake, there is one thing which I will like to share. If you all are paying attention to this, be very alert. Whenever one does the upasana, meditation on God, you are being told, and according to the upasana that you are initiated by the teacher through the tradition, is important. So when the teacher tells you that now meditate upon Ishvara as Shiva, or to somebody, the teacher may initiate him in the upasana saying, meditate upon Ishvara as Vishnu. At this point, the teacher is also going to tell you that this Shiva is the totality, and all the divinities are an integral part of Shiva. Vishnu is also the part of Shiva, Brahma is the part of Shiva, Durga is the part of Shiva, everything. So in worshipping Shiva, everything gets worshipped. Depending upon the tradition of the upasana that you are being given, if the Narayana's upasana is given, he will tell you that Shiva, Brahma, Devi is the part of Narayana. Okay? Now this is what will be told. Is the part belongs to this. You are not being told that, Shiva is the greatest and rest of the gods are some different, and therefore though this is greatest, but yet the rest of them also are there. Now, Ekeka Upasana is being condemned by the Upanishad. Considering these deities as individuals and then doing the upasana of them as if you are in the deities are in competition is being condemned. But how, how is the upasana to be done? That everything is in Shiva, if that is your upasana. And this is how the upasana is being given to us through the Upanishad, because this is what the Upanishad alone can say. Nobody has any authority on this. Okay, those and but then other people are, they compare Shiva is bigger or Vishnu is bigger, and some of them say no, 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 only Vishnu is bigger. This kind of a childish thing is being condemned over here. And therefore, how does it begin? It begins with this kind of a topic in the Upanishad. And this topic then categorically is brought to us and shown to us under the sutra called as Vaishvanara Sadharana Shabda Vishesha. Okay? Ko na atma kim brahma iti atmanameva Vaishvanaram sampratyadheshe tameva no bruhye iti upakramya. This is how that Upanishad begins. Who is this Atma? What is that Brahman? And that Brahman is called as Vaishvanara. What is that? Please tell us what it is. So now he says, this Vaishvanara is the one whose head is the sun, whose feet are the Prithvi, etc. So by showing this, now worship sun, worship Prithvi is not there. Prithvi, etc., everything gets worshipped when you recognize Vaishvanara is the one whose head is Surya, the sun, etc. The feet are the earth, all these things. Now, by doing this, Sutejastvadi Gunayogam, Dyu Surya Prabhatinam, Ekekopasana Nindaya, Murdhadi Bhavam Upadishya, Amnayate. This is how the Upanishad lays down the rules of Upasana, this is Vedic. Yastvetam etameva pradeshamatram abhivimanam atmanam vaishvanaram upaste sarveshu lokeshu sarveshu bhuteshu sarveshu atmasu atmasu annamatti tasya vai tasyatmano vaishvanarasya murta eva sutejas chakshur vishvarupah prana prathagvartma atma sandeho bahulo bastireva raihi prithvireva pado ura eva vedi lomanivanihi hridayam karhapatyo manonvaharya Anvaharya Pajanasyam Ahavaniyaha Asyam Ahavaniyaha Ityadi. Now, those parts are now being shown. What should be considered as the face, what should be considered as the Roma, what do they call it? This hair on the hands, etc. And what is the head, what are the eyes, what is the nose, what is the chest, what is the abdomen, what are the thighs, what are the legs, what are the feet. All this is now shown to you over here. And therefore, All the upasana is being brought to you in one, and this is Vaishvana. This is the body of God. And by doing that upasana, one finds himself to be one with Vaishvanara, discovers himself as to be the total experiencer, not an individual experiencer, the total experiencer. And therefore, Sarveshu Lokeshu Sarveshu Bhuteshu Sarvasu Atmasu Annam Atti. Okay, Annam Atti. This is how it is. Ityadi Tatra Samshayaha. Now, the topic of Upasana gets a little extended because there is a doubt. And what is the doubt? Kimiha Vaishvanaro Jatharagni Uta Bhutagni Ahosvit Devatatma Athava Shariraha Kimva Parameshwaraha. Now you have used the word, the Upanishad, you in the sense the Upanishad has used the word Vaishvanara. What is the word? Vaishvanara. In the Sanskrit language, the word Vaishvanara also denotes fire. It also means fire. But we are using the word Vaishvanara to mean Paramatma. Okay? With the conditioning of total gross world. Now, the bone of contention over here is, should we consider, because the word Vaishvanara is used, then does the Upanishad want to say that it is fire? And even when you say fire, the physical fire, external fire, as well as you have fire in the body, okay, Jatharagni in the stomach, there is fire. I don't think about fire means just, that which is there at the end of the burning stick. Fire. Kimiha Vaishvanaro Jatharagni At Uta Bhutagni. Is this by the word Vaishvanara? Does the Upanishad want to say it is fire? Could be the fire which is there in your stomach, or does the Upanishad mean to say fire means the physical fire? It's outside, Bhutagni, Uta Ahosvet Devatatma. Or does it want to say that it is some celestial deity, Devata, some deity, Athava Shariraha or Jiva? Or does the Upanishad mean to say it is Paramatma by using the word Vaishvanara? These are all possible meanings. Pay attention. These are all possible meanings that can be derived from the word Vaishvanara. And therefore, now the doubt is that when the Upanishad is using the word Vaishvanara and also advocating the Upasana of Vaishvanara, whose result is to discover Sarveshu Bhuteshu Annamatti. That is the result. That one phalam is also said. So who is this Vaishvanara, or what is that Vaishvanara whose upasana, meditation is being advocated over here? So he says, Iti Vaishvanaratma Shabdabhyam Samshaya. Because the word over here is Atma and Vaishvanara. Look at that sentence. Ko na Atma kim Brahma iti Atmanameva imam Vaishvanaram sampratyadheshi. Tell us that. Samyak prakarena adheshi. You know. So you tell. You understand now? Therefore, now there is, where is it? Kim. So that possible meaning delivered by this word could roll into Agni, fire, whether the fire is in the body, or the physical fire, or Devata, Athva, Jiva, or Paramatma. So these are the various meanings which are possible, and we do not want to have any confusion when it is said, do the upasana of Vaishvanara, what exactly is meant by the Upanishad. So now, iti Vaishvanaratma Shabdabhyam Samshaya, because these two words can create this, leave us with a doubt. So now, Tatra Jatharagniva Bhutagnirva Devatatmava Vaishvanarasyat, because Vaishvanara can be the Jatharagni, the fire in the stomach, or Bhutagni, the physical fire, or Devatatma, the deity, or Vasyat. Shrutishu Sarvatra Vaishvanara Shabda Prayoga. Because the Shruti herself uses the word Vaishvanara for all these things. How many of them are there? 3 at least in front of you. Jatharagni, Bhutagni, Devatatma, and Vaishvanara. For all the 4, all the 3. Jatharagni, Bhutagni, and Devatatma. Over there, the Shruti herself uses the word Vaishvanara for all these 3. And therefore, in our present context, when the Shruti is using the word Vaishvanara, what exactly is meant by the Shruti? It is Shabda Prayoga. Athava Shariro Vasyar Vaishvanara. Maybe there is a possibility that even the Sharira, the one who is obtained in the body, in the Sharira, is called as Sharira. So obviously the Jiva. So Athava Sharirova Syad Vaishvanaraha Atma Shabdad Atma Shabdasya Tatraiva Mukhyatvat. Vaishvanara Shabdasyapi Lakshanaya Tatra Pravritti Sambhavat. Because the word Atma is also used over here for Vaishvanara. And if you are going to look at the principal meaning of the word Atma, it means Sharira, this Jiva. And therefore, somehow through Lakshana, because of association, we also can draw now, when you are going to say a person who is riding the horse in a horse race, then you say, oh, this fellow, this jockey number, whatever, has won. And he came really to the destination very fast. Whatever that last point, what do they call it? God knows. I don't know. I've never been to a horse race. I don't over there to that point. Who has come running so fast? The horse. But you are saying the jockey has reached very quickly. So Lakshanaya, now when though you are saying it is the jockey, Lakshana, it is associated with the horse, and therefore now, even when you have said jockey, we have to conclude the horse on which the jockey is riding. So like that, Lakshanaya tatra pravritti sambhava. The Lakshana allows us to bring this meaning to of word Vaishwanara to the Jiva. Tasmat Shariro Vaishwanaraha na Parameshwaraha. And therefore, Jiva, etc., can also be considered to be Vaishwanara. Definitely, it is therefore not Parameshwara. Ishvara is not Vaishwanara. So, this is how the topic is brought to us. Iti evam prapte, thus, when you have landed in this kind of a doubt, iti evam prapte abhidhiyate, this is said. Vaishwanaraha parmeshwaro bhavitumarahati. Vaishwanara is nothing but Ishvara alone. Athava parmeshwaraha Vaishwanara bhavitumarahati. Parameshwara only can be called as Vaishwanara. Over here, Parameshwara is meant by the word Vaishwanara. How then, sir? Kasmat Sadharana Shabda Visheshat. Now, we are going to see a little bit how the Brahma Sutra introduces this topic and then proceed further, but we will have to wait for the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Padarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Mahadeva, 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 Mahadeva. Thank you very much. Thank you all.